Hello everyone. First of all, I want to thank for the invitation and everything that you've been doing. My name is Vina. I live in Portugal. I've been working with Ayurveda. I finished the course 8 years ago. And I work in different areas of Portugal, from the south where I live to Lisbon, Porto as well, the north of Portugal. I don't have my own place like a clinic, but different areas that way I can reach more people. I'm gonna share with you some of cases that I had, and the first one is a lady. She had candidias, and she had it for 11 years. She tried a lot of treatments, nothing worked. Her lifestyle was very stressful. Her breakfast was with a coffee and a cake, so a lot of sugar, a lot of stress, work stress, life stress. She spent a lot of hours out of home, and when she came, the first thing I realized it was her stress. So that was the first thing we've tried to manage, the stress and her what she used to eat. So we changed that, and in 8 months, of course, she had to take some medicines like Chandra Prabhavati, and at the moment I don't remember what else I gave her. But basically with her lifestyle, we've changed it, and it's been, I've seen her 6 years ago, and since then, so it took eight months for her not to have any kind of symptoms, but after these 8 months she didn't have it again, and it's been 6 years, as I said. I keep in touch with her, but at least that symptoms, she didn't have it anymore, the candidias. And even though sometimes she has a stressful life, she can manage herself with her lifestyle, not to feel as sick as before she used to feel. So this is to say that many times the medicine is just a boost, but with our lifestyle, it's much easier to feel healthy, and that's what Ayurveda is to have a balanced lifestyle. Then another patient I had, he was 18 years old. He was a student, university student, and he had a lot of allergies. He used to wake up and sneeze a lot, and so and he did try a lot of medicines, homeopathic, allopathic, and strange, no one told him about what to eat and not to eat. So the first thing I told him is you remove dairy products and take septilin and curcuma, haldi. And he did that, and he said he never woke up again with sneezing. But then sometimes he used to have crises of sneezing or chorea. And I realized when he used to have this crisis, it was at the moment of stress, when he used to have exams or something like that. And then I realized that we need to treat his stress, his lack of confidence. So that's what we did. And nowadays, I think I saw him last time 2 years ago, and he's doing fine. So that's another example of many times we don't need to depend on medicines, but just to boost, and then with lifestyle people manage themselves. Another patient I had, she's maybe 60 years old, and she came to me because of a urinary infection. She had it for 2 years, and she couldn't treat it. a lot of antibiotics, and then the antibiotics made her feel other things. But she just wanted the urinary infection. She never wanted, she's from a small town, and she never wanted more than just the symptom. So then I gave her Chandra Prabhavati, and she took it maybe for 6 months, and it's been 3 years, I think, and she didn't have it again. 3-4 years, she never had it again. Sometimes I see her, and she's pretty fine about that. Then another patient I had, this is just patients that I chose. She's young, she's 30 years, and she had skin problems. And I tried we tried that she didn't need to do any kind of Virechana or Panchakarma, but we realized, well, usually I always tell the patients when it's skin problems, we need to do more than just medicines and lifestyle. But so she did Virechana with the help of my teacher that she always helped me, Dr. Neha. We did the Virechana, and I think it's been 4 years that she did it, and she feels much better. She never had it again, all that itching and the stuff that she used to have. Sometimes we need to do it more times than just once, but this patient, she's happy with the results, so that's a good. Then the last example that I've chosen, it's a boy. He's only 3 years old, and they come from Brazil, and he has a lot of skin problems and also sneezing and itchy, and so his diet was a lot of sugar, a lot of dairy, a lot of wheat. So I just spoke to the parents, and I told them to remove these things, mainly the wheat, because here the wheat is different from there, and many times the skin problems comes out of the wheat, the different kinds of wheat we eat, and the bread. Here we have a lot of bread in Portugal. So he actually stopped eating basically wheat and less dairy and sugar. He used to have a lot of sugar, like cereals with a lot of sugar and stuff like that. So the mother, after some time, she said, oh, he's doing fine. He stopped having, mainly he had it here, a lot of in the lips. And then it came this of the virus, and they stayed the lockdown. So he started eating again some pizza and stuff like that. And she said, well, it came back. And I told her, well, that's a choice that you need to do, or you give him that and you see the results. So you see that he doesn't feel good, or you stop giving him that and he will be fine. So once again, the lifestyle matters. What we eat matters, and Ayurveda is incredible. So thank you very much. Hopefully I'll be able to come to Jamnagar soon. Who knows? And have a good day. Thank you.
Namaskar, everyone. Namaste to all of my teachers. This is a short presentation regarding my experience in the field of working with Ayurveda in Italy. I have entitled the presentation as such, From One Eye to the Other. You will see in a short few moments as to why. Since 2011, that I passed out from the Gujarat Ayurveda University, I have been practicing Ayurveda in Italy. The main points of this presentation are the following: a blessing, main differences between practicing in India and Italy, points of interest of people I have come across in Italy, most common aspects between cases, structure of my work, and a conclusion based on my experience. Why do I consider this a blessing? from GAU to Milan City. Milan City is my base, but then my work extends across north of Italy and central Italy. It is a great blessing because I can't imagine seeing myself doing anything other than this. I have had the opportunity and the great good fortune of growing up in an ashram which gave a great insight into Indian spiritual texts, following which I joined the GAU, and clubbing the two together, I find this job to be very, very, very enriching. And this wouldn't be possible if not thank you to my teachers as well. So thank you. Main differences between the two eyes, because I went from one eye to the other, from India to Italy. First, the time factor. What I noticed, a great difference was in the amount of time I get to spend with the patient over here in Italy, which for population reasons and for other obvious reasons in India is not possible. My consultations last about an hour or so with each patient, and this gives me an opportunity to go in depth into their prakriti and vikriti and see every aspect at from a 360-degree angle. So this has been a great fortune practicing in Italy. Interest and curiosity. Now, I cannot speak for the patients I have come across in India, but I can only speak from my perspective. Due to time constraints and maybe also due to respect towards the doctors, the patients don't ask many questions due to respect. But over here, there is a lot of curiosity. People are very curious. They want to know how to get healthier. They want to know how to live healthier, how to eat healthier. They want to know the science. So there's a lot of interest and curiosity. And this I found very, very, a very welcome change for me, because it gave me also an opportunity to delve even deeper into the science. Local application of a wisdom which seems to come from miles away. I have noticed how of late this is happening. In the past, the globalization of Ayurveda was attempted in a superficial way. This is the way I see it. But right now, things seem to be changing, because the approach has changed, as in there is local application of Ayurveda by using what Mother Nature has to offer locally. So it's not just copy and paste from our Charaka Samhita or Sushruta Samhita, but it's actual understanding the principles of Ayurveda and applying them locally. So this I found very interesting and present over here. Points of interest of each, of the people in general and also of patients. Why do they get so interested in Ayurveda? The spiritual aspect they find very eye-opening, because as I always say, as far as I know at least, Ayurveda seems to be the only science in existence that has a spiritual aspect or has a spiritual viewpoint also towards existence. It is the one science I have come across which is humble enough to know when to stop and give way to something that is beyond mortal help. People get very interested in Ayurveda over here so as to make it their profession, or else they get interested in Ayurveda for a question of a cure. And also, I would dare say, even more importantly so, it gives them a new outlook towards life. It is a breath of fresh air for many people, because they find the instruments through this science to get to know themselves on a deeper level, physically, emotionally, mentally. And this automatically changes their view towards life on the outside and improves their relationship with the world. Most common aspect between cases that I have seen over here, at first, most of the cases would come to Ayurveda as their last option. This is slowly changing and is not the case anymore as much as it was before. It still is the case with some patients, but not as much as before. So first, I would see that people would come, out of desperation to Ayurveda because nothing else seemed to have worked. Secondly, they are very much interested in recognizing the mind-body connection which Ayurveda very much extols. Third point, nutrition. There seems to be a shift of interest between diet and nutrition, the difference between a diet and a nutrition. A diet could be something you follow only for a certain time period, and then there's a risk of you going back to old habits. But if one learns how to nourish themselves properly, following the seasons throughout the year, then there is no risk of changing back to old habits. And this Ayurveda really, really has the power to give to the people. What is the structure of my work? At first, for a couple of years, I practiced Panchakarma. There was a center near Milan where I had the opportunity and the good fortune to practice Panchakarma, but the center then closed down, after which the model of my work changed slightly. I had the good fortune of working in eminent schools in Italy with total respect to classical texts. This is still the case, and it takes up about 50%, if not more, of my job. Secondly, consultations. I visit patients in various cities in Italy. As of now, I travel a lot. Cities like Padua, like Milan, like near Florence, near Bologna. So there's quite a large list of cities where I visit patients. Also because for the moment, there are logistic difficulties involved with the patients at times, and also cost difficulties. So I find myself in a situation where Ayurveda has to be brought to the people, hoping that in the future this will change. Conclusions based on my experience. I have enlisted a few pros and a few cons. There is a search for a totalitarian approach, a holistic approach to health. And this is very, very, I think, interesting to note. I think it also reflects the fact that people are recognizing that an approach which dismantles an organism is not the right way. Rather, an approach that takes into consideration each and every aspect of said individual turns out to be the right way, and they have realized this through experience. The search for a deeper meaning to life. And as I mentioned 2 minutes ago, the spiritual aspect of Ayurveda really helps in this and helps them understand how to take a step back and try to observe their problems from the outside. I think this is an advantage, the fact that in Italy there is no past history for this science, at least up until maybe 3 decades ago, if not 4. And this is good, because this means that we find ourselves at a situation where we can create the right foundations. And this connects me to the cons based on my experience. There's a last pro that I have enlisted over here, which is related to the roots. I have noticed that many Ayurvedic teachings, when it comes to, for example, Ritucharya, Dinacharya, and also when it comes to food habits, there are many cultural sayings in Italy which communicate the same exact teachings of Ayurveda. So whether you like it or not, Ayurveda, what it does, it seems to have come from outside. But in reality, it is taking people back to their cultural roots, which, as is the case, I think, with every society, represent the foundation of health, if people are only willing to go back. Conclusion based on my experience. The cons now: no education or professional protocol is in place in Italy at the moment. And I found this to be a danger, because it's enough that one goes to India, falls in love with Ayurveda, comes to Italy and says, I want to open a school. And there are no norms, there is nothing that actually helps give any structure or helps safeguard the educational protocol, for example. So what has happened is, across the country, you have various schools, many schools, which firstly are not backed up by the government. And secondly, each school has taken on their own language. Each school has taken on their own approach, and each school has added on or removed whatever they wanted. It's very rare to find in Italy schools that are hell-bent on communicating the science the way it should be communicated. and that is through the texts. The same is the case for the professional situation as well. In fact, that brings me to the second point, disparity between therapists and doctors. Most of the courses in Italy have a large number of therapists, or they educate people to become Ayurvedic therapists. But doctors are very few. And amongst those who come to study Ayurveda, very few of them actually let go of their past education and dedicate their entire professional field and time and energy to Ayurveda alone. So with this disparity, what do we see? We see that there are a lot of therapists who are not being followed by many doctors. So there is a risk of abuse of the profession, because there are many treatments that involve many risks that the therapist should not and cannot take the responsibility for. Third point, which is a sad truth, but inevitable, that the treatments are not cost effective. A consultation can be sustained, or rather consultations with follow-ups as well can be sustained, but the treatments prove very difficult for many people financially, also because the oils and the materials and the medications are not exactly cheap here in Italy. What is my hope for the future? I would wish to be able to live to see the day that Ayurveda thrives globally, because I'm of the idea and belief that Ayurveda is the future. Because to go back to our roots, we find Ayurveda. A common ground between the sciences. Here as well, I have seen this has been attempted in the past, but according to me, it was a superficial approach. According to me, the intention in this unity between sciences wasn't the right one. But that seems to be changing today. In today's world, that seems to be the real, proper, deep approach towards uniting the two sciences. Modern medicine and ancient medicine. Of course, this includes various other systems also, medical systems, medicinal systems. My hope for the future is a new world with ancient foundations. Because in reality, they still are our foundations. It's only because we have forgotten them that we are lost. They have always been our foundations, and they always will be. Because Ayurveda derives from the Vedas themselves. With this short presentation, my hope was to give a little bit of insight as to the situation of Ayurveda in Italy, at least from my perspective, obviously. I can't speak for everyone who is in the field. I would like to close expressing my gratitude to my teachers for all of their hard work in having tried setting up a course which was specific to Westerners. I lived 6 years in Jamnagar, which will always be unforgettable. In all of their pros and all of their cons, these years and my teachers have given me the courage and the strength to bring Ayurveda abroad and to persevere on this path. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, and warm regards to my teachers and fellow Vaidyas. My name is Ashok Jethanandani, and I graduated from Gujarat Ayurved University with BA-MS in 2013. Then I returned to San Jose, California in the United States, which is my home, and started my practice of Ayurveda. One of the first things that I did is to start sharing my knowledge of Swasthavavrtta, because I believe that this knowledge of preventive health is one of the greatest gifts that Ayurveda has given to humanity. Over the years, I've tried a few different approaches and with mixed success. Each one of them has their pros and cons. So what I will do today is to share with you my experiences with disseminating the Ayurvedic wisdom of Swasthavritta. So how to present the knowledge of Swasthavritta in California? I have tried 3 different formats of presentation. The first one is to give public talks on the topic. And then the second one is to offer one-on-one consultations. And the third one is to offer an extended workshop. And I'll talk about each of these. So the first thing that I did was to start giving public talks. And these were scheduled as 1-hour talks plus time for Q&A. And I had an option of either presenting an overview of preventive health in a talk, or to select one topic, for example, dinacharya or ahara. And this is what I decided on doing. So I did one talk on dinacharya, talking about a healthy morning routine, another talk about ahara, and so on, different topics. What I found was the advantages of this format is that you can share, you can present to a larger number of people, and that this format is suitable as an introduction to the topic. The downsides are that the interest level of the attendees tends to vary a lot. Some people are very motivated. Some people are casual attendees. And another downside is that the treatment that you can give to that subject is not comprehensive, because you have to choose either an overview or more detail about one topic. And so there's always a feeling that something is left out, that it's not complete. And I wonder what is the lasting value unless you get a chance to do follow-up. And that is possible if you've interested some people in the audience and they follow up with you, then there is a possibility of offering them more information that might be useful to them. The other format that I've tried is one-on-one consultations, because people ask for them. There are people who are very interested in their health. They don't have any major health issue, and they want information about preventive health, advice about preventive health. So typically I schedule it as a 1-hour consultation. And the advantages of this are that there is privacy, confidentiality, and so people are more willing to share information. Also that your advice can be personalized, which is one of the greatest strengths of Ayurveda. At the outset, you know that there's a high level of motivation because the client has asked for this consultation. And it can be more interactive. You listen and you offer advice, you answer questions. So it can be quite useful. The downsides are that there can be too much advice in one session. There are a lot of aspects of preventive health that need to be covered, and it's too much for one session. So if you try to do it all, then it may tend to be a lot of advice, and people can take advice only in small amounts so that they can put it to practice and find it helpful. So I feel that this needs follow-up, which also is doable. You can schedule follow-ups and do more in later sessions. Except that you haven't really set the expectation for that it's going to need more time. So I like the next format even better, is to offer an extended workshop over a period of 5 weeks. And I'm still formulating this. I'm doing 5 sessions. These are 1-hour sessions and they are weekly. And it's in a workshop format, meaning that it's not just talk, it's not just advice. but it's a chance for your clients to put this advice in practice, to try it out, and give you feedback. So the advantages of this format is, again, that people come with a high level of motivation, and there is more time to discuss each aspect of health. So if you've got 5 one-hour sessions, you can devote each session to one major topic of Swasthavrutta, to Dinacharya, Ritucharya. You can talk about Ahara, Nidra, Sadvrut. You can format it as you like. And there is time between sessions for them to try out some of the recommendations. And this is very beneficial. And they can, because they can come back and give you feedback. You can ask them what was their experience. Did they feel any benefits? Did they find any challenges? And so with this interactivity, you can tailor your advice for each person. This longer period also facilitates the formation of good habits, because after all, Swasthavrutta is about lifestyle. And lifestyle changes don't happen in a day or in a week. It takes some time. So if you have the chance to work with someone over this extended period, then there is a good chance that they will form lifestyle habits, good habits, and benefit from this workshop. So what has been the greatest benefit, or who has been the greatest beneficiary of this effort? I feel that I am the greatest beneficiary, because I resolved that whatever I preach, I'm going to practice it first. So I'm reaping the benefits of Swasthavrutta as a result. So these have been some of my experiences with Ayurveda, with Swasthavrutta in particular, and I'm curious to hear from others.
Namaskar, everyone. What a great occasion we unite again after all these years. Thanks to all who make this happen. Jamnagar, the place which unites all of us together, it really has left imprints, deep imprints in my life. The spent 6 years will always remain as a special marker or a reminder of very good times and very challenging ones too. I have felt it always as a privilege being able to study Ayurveda in India, the chance getting to know the science of life from the source itself. A deep gratitude fills my heart for this precious gift of an immense wisdom we were all allowed to receive. This feeling of thankfulness has given me the deep felt wish within to share this knowledge and being in service to mankind. The big challenge once back home was actually to find a way to let this wish become true. Ayurveda cannot be applied one-to-one in the form we have learned it or perceived it, observed it in India. Many times people asking me, a medical system originated in India, can it be at all useful or applicable on a continent, in an environment, in a culture, society, climate so different than to its origin? Since Ayurveda stands for universal knowledge, it has to be applicable anywhere in this world. And this is doable if one understands its concepts. For those people who are working outside of India with Ayurveda and not having an Indian originated or an Indian clientele, a clientele of Indian origin, they probably face the challenge to modify these concepts in a way that one doesn't lose the core of the Ayurvedic wisdom, which is quite a challenge. I'm in the fortunate position to be able to practice Ayurveda and be able to work also for Ayurveda. In this little contribution of mine here, I would like to share my difficulties, my restrictions in applying Ayurveda, what kind of health issues I'm mainly confronted with, and little experiences which I was allowed to make in two different societies, Western societies, and how I perceive actually the approach different. The spirit of time in Europe carries its own economical demands and requirements in form of performance and functions from almost everyone. Everybody seems to have a vata vitiation regardless of one's prakriti. The life is so fast and the day is so full. The workload becomes bigger and bigger. The society is production oriented and it seems there is no choice, one has to function and perform, if not somebody else will get your job. The most people are driven by pressure and fear, and for the majority there seems no exit out of this hamster wheel. Many become aware that this sort of lifestyle, this stressful lifestyle, demands its tribute. And some of them believe not anymore in the symptomatic treatments, what is the main approach of the modern medicine, and they are looking for alternatives. Therefore, the interest in healthy food and lifestyle is growing bigger and bigger in Switzerland. Many people who come to see me are very eager to take responsibilities, at least in those areas in their lives where they have a choice and control. Interested in finding forms to counteract the negative consequences of a lifestyle most of them were forced into, to maintain their health in the best case, or not to become more imbalanced than they already are. The interest in healthy diet and lifestyle includes also meditation and yoga, and it becomes bigger and bigger. Yet they are in search and lost at times in the flood of information which is given or available in the internet about the proper diet. Many times the information is contradictory, which makes them even more confused what's supposed to be conducive and not for the constitution. And many people facing health issues, mentally as well physical, and very often vata related, like insomnia, burnouts, exhaustion, chronic fatigue syndrome, on the digestive level in form of irritable bowel syndrome, leaking gut, including hypersensitivities to certain food articles, morbus Crohn, ulcerative colitis, flatulence, bloating, indigestion, sluggish digestion, and also on the structural level, we find many times joint issues, myopathy, fibromyalgia, any kind of inflammations, then also migraines, headaches, depression, psychosis. These, of course, all beside the well-known first world civilization disorders, which are obesity, diabetes mellitus, coronary heart diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, etc., etc. In Switzerland, I have the privilege that those people with an additional insurance for alternative medicine, this is additional and optional to the mandatory basic one, getting partially covered for my services, which makes it affordable for more people to undergo treatments. But I'm still restricted in certain treatments which are considered as invasive here, like fasting, for example. Akshitakana and Karnapurana are more or less in the gray zone. And the biggest drawback and limitation I'm facing is seen in the availability or the permission, or respectively not permission, in herbs and formulations. The availability is very little, and this is because the laws in Switzerland are very strict and the influence of the pharma lobby is huge. My focus, therefore, is mainly on recommendation on Ahara Vihara and also on manual treatments. At least here we are very nicely covered with beautiful classical Ayurvedic oils. We have available a huge range, which I am applying also for different varieties of disorders. On my own surprise, the improvements in people's well-being is impressive, but also because most of my clients are very obedient and compliant to advice and restrictions. Beside all this, I can see also the need for education, what Ayurveda is all about. Here, the impression that Ayurveda is only a form of wellness is broadly believed. But fortunately, this is changing quite a bit. Many people becoming more and more aware that there is a medical system, a science behind, and Ayurveda is gaining on popularity and appreciation, which is very nice. One more observation I'd like to place here. I also got several chances to treat or consult people in the US. And even though also a westernized society, probably similar in regards of hectic and speedy lifestyles, the awareness or the given focus by people on their own health, I have perceived differently what I experienced in Switzerland, and I had to adjust my approach quite a bit. This shows me, especially if one is restricted in treating people with medication and focuses mainly on recommendation and on vihara, ahara, that the health awareness and the consciousness on health by the person which is getting treated plays a great role and has to be taken into consideration in how to apply and how to convey Ayurveda to get the best results. Here I would like to finish off my little contribution, and I would like to thank to everybody who has contributed to this event, and I like to finish off my contribution with a little mantra to our Lord Sanvantari, to pay him our regards too. Thank you. Namaskar. Om Shankam Jakram Jalokam Taradamrutakatam Jarudotes Chaturviti Suhukshma Svachadhirudyam Shukha Harivilasam Mulimam Chanitram Kalam Bodho Chvalangam Patitata Vilasa Charubitam Paradyam Vande Dhanvantarim Tam Nikila Karavana Prada Davakilam.
Hi, my name is Dr. Nisha Patel. I'm practicing Ayurveda and Panchakarma in Los Angeles, California, in the US. As most of you know, I completed my BA/MS at our university in Jamnagar. Thereafter, I started my clinic and Panchakarma Center. I completed a beautician's course during my internship, and I practiced herbal beauty at my clinic as well. Along with teaching therapeutic yoga, I have been attending IU Council and UNICEF meetings actively. I'm also doing a course on FDA regulations from Harvard. It is hard to work with the US government to promote Ayurveda because no strong steps have been taken by the Indian government to give Ayurveda a boost here. But I am in touch with different organizations and communities who are trying to advance holistic medicine in the US. Now, talking about the globalization of Ayurveda, why is it so important to take it forward? Because we think beyond bacteria and viruses. We look for the root cause and treat that. The first aim of Ayurveda is, as we all know, Swastasya Swastha Rakshanam, to promote health. We take immunity into consideration as it is an important factor of prevention. Even a healthy person has to take precautions to be physically, mentally, and spiritually happy. To prevent disease, we use certain measures like dinacharya, ritucharya, proper diet, and good conduct. We are blessed to learn about Prakriti, how each person has a different body constitution. We have the knowledge of Rasayana, our own special branch for it. It makes Ayurveda unique. We have the knowledge, but that's not enough. I know that because living in the States where the pharmaceutical industry has such a strong hold over the medical system is difficult. Big pharma, big hospitals won't be interested in Ayurveda. It's the people that will help take Ayurveda forward. We have to focus on educating the public of the world. And we have that advantage because all of us are spread out all over the world in many different countries. We know how to connect Ayurveda with life, not just medicine. Some countries have recognized Ayurveda, but most Western countries haven't. Globally, Ayurvedic medicine should be standardized according to global norms. Medicinal plants should be cultivated, regulated, and controlled. Due to the lack of proper research and documentation, Ayurveda has been neglected since decades, but with the world turning to natural and holistic health, it's becoming popular now. Having said that, we do need support from the Indian government to promote Ayurveda with pride and constant effort, because we Vaidyas cannot do it alone. They need to take measured steps to advance Ayurveda as a health science and knowledge of life, not just in India, but for the world. For example, China began its efforts to promote its traditional form of medicine since its founding as the People's Republic of China. And it has supported its medicine so much that Chinese medicine is now practiced globally and recognized as a system of medicine. Joint effort has to be taken. So what measures can be taken to bring Ayurveda to the world? Why are there so many hospitals and rising sickness? Because they address the symptoms and the sickness, but not health. With minor changes like applying basic principles to hospitals everywhere and hiring at least one Ayurvedic physician to each hospital, we can make a healthier society. This can also benefit the graduates from our universities that live abroad. This would give them job opportunities after graduating and returning back to their respective cities and countries. It can benefit the country of India. Why is allopathic medicine, which is just 100 years old, given so much more importance than our thousands of year-old science? Even in India, Ayurveda has been sidelined instead of recognizing it and giving it importance. I think it's time for Indians and the Indian government to be proud of Ayurveda. The government needs to put pressure on other countries to help recognize Ayurveda, because we can't take Ayurveda global without it, because this is a matter of humanity in the world. Our duty is to educate the world about the essence of Ayurveda. With the help from the Indian government, we can take Ayurveda forward. Thank you for your time.
Namaste. It gives a great pleasure to address all of you at the auspicious occasion of 75th birthday of Shri Gulabkunvarba Ayurved Mahavidyalaya and Alumni Meeting 2020. I am Asyam Adalbayeva, an international student from Kazakhstan. Also, I am MBBS doctor in pediatrics and BMS doctor. I graduated from Gujarat Ayurved University in 2015. As an international student, I was asked to give a speech on this alumni meeting. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my experience. After my MBBS, I won scholarship which was given by Ayush to study Ayurveda in Gujarat Ayurveda University in 2009. I came to Jamnagar and joined group where was 9 students beside me from Switzerland, Japan, South Africa, Nepal and Brazil. My life turned upside down because I suddenly changed from modern medicine to Ayurveda, from one country to another, and learned few languages: Sanskrit, Hindi, Gujarati. I will never forget words like kemcho, tamenam suche, khakra, fafra, etc. I think it will be fair to say that I wasn't most smart student, but I was one of the most interested in getting knowledge of this ancient wisdom. I am grateful to my teachers, Arpan Bhatt, Neha Tang, Rajashri Unakant, Raju Thomas, Sushant Sood, and Pashmina Mem for their patience, teaching talent, love, and many enjoyable moments in university. I was following teachers even from PG as Mandeep Goyal, Neha Pandya, and Pashmina Ruparelia. I hope they remember me too. I am grateful to my seniors and juniors from international and local batches that they were as a family in Jamnagar. One of the most important things I want to say that not only this institution has given us a tremendous learning experience, but also has given us opportunity to participate in various social and cultural programs. Except non-scholarly activities, the lessons taught by our proficient teachers have given us inevitable knowledge and guidance throughout the session. I am grateful to my teachers and professors that they helped us to support the better persons during college visits and certainly helped us score good grades for all our efforts. Due to this highly ambitious and committed faculty, I have seen this institution growing and tending every day. This is a courage, hard work, and patience which has helped create bright students who have done well in their respective careers. After graduation in 2015, I was invited to work at the Institute of Oriental Medicine in one of the biggest international universities in Russia, People's Friendship University of Russia in Moscow. Here I started to work with my senior, Dr. Boris Ragozin, who also graduated from Gujarat Ayurveda University. Since then, till now, I'm working in the wonderful place as a teacher and sharing my knowledge which was given me in Jamnagar. Our institute from 2014 this is a year when it was opening, till now graduated more than 1,000 students, among them more than 300 from medical field. We are spreading Ayurveda all over post-USSR countries like Belarus, Kazakhstan, Ukraine. From 2019, by Ayush Ministry, to our university was sent Professor Saraswati to help spread Ayurveda here. And he is working till now in our team. I am proud to be one of the students from our Gujarat Ayurveda University who is working in government institution and spreading such a deep knowledge which was given in our alma mater to the people. I wish to our university happy birthday and wish bright future. Thank you for your attention.